Stop! Don't eat that food!
Who are you? What are you doing in our house?
I'm from the future. I'm here to warn you, don't eat that food.
Why not?
The eggs, they're full of cholesterol.
What?
Eating even just one egg can dramatically increase your chance of heart attack. Don't eat eggs.
Oh my God, thank you.
You're welcome. Godspeed.
Well, I guess I better take those eggs.
Wait! Stop!
You're back!
Yeah, we were wrong about the eggs.
How?
Well, it turns out there's two types of cholesterol. There's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, and eggs actually have both. So you can eat eggs, but just don't eat the egg yolks. So stick with the egg whites.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Godspeed. Wait! We were wrong about the eggs.
Again?
Yeah, okay, so it turns out that the amount of cholesterol in a food doesn't actually affect how much cholesterol ends up in your blood. The eggs are probably fine. In fact, we sort of don't even know what cholesterol is. But the steak! You can't eat the steak! Wait! We were wrong about the steak! It's the toast. Man was not meant to eat bread.
What do you mean man was not meant to eat bread?
Turns out it's genetic. Doesn't matter whether you exercise or what you eat. I'm sorry I ruined your meal.
Good morning, Patriots. How you doing today? This is Mike the Patriot coming to you live from the downtown metropolis of LaMonte, Missouri. Broadcasting live on all the channels. See which one I get kicked off first today. My goodness, there's a lot going on in the news. We won't even get to the aliens. Anyways. Oh, I hope you guys are having a great day wherever you are at, because this is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. And the word of the day, as presented by Marine in the Woods, as given by the Lord, is Mark 4, 1 through 9. That's Mark 4, 1 through 9. Make sure you crack open the Bible and see what God has for you today, because God is good all the time, and all the time he is good. Even when we don't understand it, our understanding is irrelevant to the whole process of what God is doing. So that is a ton going on today. There's stuff happening to gold, stuff happening to everything. You remember, I want to take you to the way back machine. Back to the debates in early 2016 when Donald Trump was taking on, 40 or 50 so-called Republicans. Do you remember this?
That's all of his donors and special interests out there. So, that's what it is.
Okay. Let me slow it down. Not that much. I got to remember you guys can't think that fast.
That's all of his donors and special interests out there. So, that's what it is. And by the way, let me just tell you, we needed tickets. You can't get them. You know who has the tickets I'm talking about to the television audience? Donors, special interest, the people that are putting up the money. So it is. The RNC told us we have all donors in the audience, and the reason they're not loving me, the reason they're not loving me is I don't want their money. I'm going to do the right thing for the American public. I don't want their money. I don't need their money. And I'm the only one up here that can say that.
Are you going to be at Virginia Beach, Star Wars? Are you planning on going to the No Kings rally? Is that your plan? If you don't know Star Wars nerd is saying there's a No King protest planned in Virginia Beach this weekend, and she guess she'll call us from jail. Okay. I didn't take you for the protesting type. I actually know her. She goes to my church. That's kind of funny. Anyways, got to have fun somehow, right? Got to make life interesting. Yeah, there's All kinds of no king protests planned all over the place. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. Well, sometimes my computers start doing things that okay, cool. I have no idea. So there's a lot happening with gold. There's a lot happening with just wanted to sightsee. I imagine if you go to the No Kings protest, there'll be some sights to see. I'm just saying. Those people, they're usually interesting. Oh, but there's things happening in the gold market today. I don't know if you know, gold is trading right now at 43.25. Silver's down a little bit at 51.93, was up to 54 over the evening hours. Here's a history lesson. It says silver took down Bear Stearns. You remember 2007-8 when the Bear Stearns collapsed and that kicked off the whole economic BS? Well, they're saying here they want people to think it was some prime mortgage crisis that took down Bear Stearns. Well, it was, but that's only part of the equation. The major reason Bear Stearns failed was over-leveraged short silver in short position in silver. They faced a $2.5 billion margin call on the day of the collapse. Bear Stearns had a large leveraged short position in the silver markets, which contributed to the collapse in 2008 when silver prices rose sharply. When Bear Stearns failed, its silver positions were transferred to JP Morgan Chase, which already had massive short portfolio, which combined the combined position violated regulatory limits, and despite a temporary waiver from the CFTC, JP Morgan subsequent, boy, easy for you to say, actions included allegedly adding to the position, drew accusations of market manipulations. No, they're not manipulating the silver markets. That ain't so. Says Bear Stearns had a large position betting that silver prices would fall, usually a highly leveraged diversified strategy. Simultaneous price rally, the company's downfall coincided with historic surge in both gold and silver prices, leading to a massive margin call that Bear Stearns could not meet. $2.5 billion margin call. Bear Stearns faced a margin call of at least $2.5 billion on the day it collapsed, which was a major factor. Well, so what does that have to do with that? You're like, okay, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China today? Well, that's a good question. Maybe it has something to do this. Reuters reporting last night, the stock market tanked 300-400 points after closing down to begin with. It was on speculation that bank stocks were in trouble. U.S. bank stocks, including Zions Bank Corporation, Jefferies, Western Alliance, fell sharply on Thursday. Investors grew uneasy about risk in the sector, which had been shaken by exposure to auto bankruptcies. Zion sank 12% after disclosing it would take a $50 million loss third quarter, and two commercial industrial loans from California division, Western Alliance stock slumped almost 11% after the bank separately disclosed it had initiated a lawsuit alleging fraud by Cantor Group V LLC. I believe that's a housing developer. Investment banks Jeff.in, which held Investor Day on Thursday, plunged 9% as the firm disclosed exposure to bankrupt auto part maker First Brands, and its stock fallen by more than 1/5 since First Bank's bankruptcy announced. It also shows you can't take credit equity for granted. The poor performing credit credit equity at one bank can drag down the group quite fast, said Stephen Bigger, banking analyst of Angus Research. Jefferies Invested Day was closed to the press. Morgan Stanley analyst Ryan Kinney said in a note that Jefferies Investors Day was positive on the core business, but left some questions unanswered on exactly what went wrong with First Brands and whether or not Jefferies could mitigated the risk in advance, and did not respond to Reuters. So that's the Reuters story. I'm looking for the other story. I'm looking for the other. I got them here somewhere. Thought I did. Okay, that's not the one I was looking for, but that's all right. It's all right. Basically, they're saying that several of the banks also had large short positions in gold and silver, which was causing them to crumble. There's even an analyst I follow. He said you could have a gold silver ratio of 1-to-1, which means gold goes to 10,000, silver could go to thousands per dollars per ounce. Okay, that seems a little extreme, and it's just one guy over on X saying this. I mean, sure, whatever you say. But then there's this story. This is from Kitco. I mean, they're not usually out there saying crazy things, like the great repricing. Market models point to $30,000 gold amid silver supply shock. Say what? Come on, man. That can't be true. While shocking negative 12.8 reading in Philadelphia Fed's manufacturing survey triggered recession alarms along Wall Street on Thursday, the real story of economic distress was unfolding in the vaults, refineries, and airport tarmacs of global precious metals market. As spot silver blew past $53 an ounce to an all-time highs, a stunning forecast emerged for its sister metal, gold, could be headed to $30,000. I mean, the beginning of the year, January, February, big investment firms, Morgan Stanley and such, were saying $5,000 gold by the end of the year. And everyone's going, oh, you're out of your mind. It's trading at 4,300 right now. It's went up 1,000, just over $1,000 since August. So, I mean, we've still got 2.5 months left. 5,000 does not seem unreasonable at this point. That is the prediction of Josh Fair, CEO of Scottsdale Mint, who argues the unprecedented crisis currently seizing the physical silver market is the first major battle in a geopolitical metal war that has ultimately forced a revolution for gold against U.S. foreign debt. In a wide-ranging interview with Kitco News, anchor Jeremy Sazfren, Fairs connected the dots between the chaos happening today and the long-term endgame, where the U.S. dollar's role is challenged by hard assets. You don't even want to know the number or where it's probably headed, he told Kitco News before laying out the case for gold to rise more than 600% from its current price of $4,200 an ounce. The Fair-Sinclair ratio, a $30,000 calculation. Fair's forecast is based on a metric he calls the Fair-Sinclair ratio, a homage to the legendary trader Jim Mr. Gold Sinclair, who used it to successfully predict the peak of the 1980s to 2011 gold bull markets. The formula calculates the price of gold would need to reach to fully back the portion of U.S. debt held by foreign nations. Based on the latest available data from U.S. Treasury, foreign creditors hold approximately $8.5 trillion in U.S. debt. Backing that figure with the nation's stated gold reserves of 261.5 million troy ounces implies a gold price of $32,500. Yikes. If you take the foreign debt of the United States, not domestic debt, but foreign debt, it stated gold holdings that numbers is over 30,000, Fair explained. It's hit a ratio twice in my, it's hit this ratio twice in my lifetime. Why couldn't it do it again? Because the world would be on fire. That's why this, by the way, what was it? How do you defeat, what was it Kim Clement prophecy? How do you defeat the giants of debt? And then he says, gold. Remember this? Gold, the simple stone, gold. Well, you know, if gold goes to $30,000, jeez, we just pay off our debt, you know, because our. Oh, so you hold $8 trillion of our debt? That's okay, cool. I mean, you got $8 trillion of our debt. You say, here, let me. Here's a $5 billion bill. I'll get a few more of those. It will just pay this thing off. By the way, that's real currency. If you don't watch my show on a regular, that is real currency, Zimbabwe currency, but it's currency. You didn't know I was a billionaire. Thanks to Mustang over in the chat room on Rumble. I'm a billionaire. I have $5 billion. Actually, I have another one. So I have $6 billion. Zimbabwe dollars. I'm not sure that would buy a small package of Chiclets gum, but it's, you know, it's worth something. It's worth what our American dollar would be worth if gold goes to $30,000 an ounce. I mean, come on, man. Everybody's complaining about the price of a pickup truck at $100,000. It's going to cost you $25 million. This is insane. Totally insane. I mean, what could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? Oh, wait. I got to unmute it.
America's gold was supposed to back the dollar. Leaving the gold standard was the most costly mistake we ever made.
What was so bad about gold?
It kept them honest, but they wanted power. You know, kid, folks today think this is just how life's supposed to be.
What do you mean?
Back in my day, one job could feed a family. My mother stayed home, father worked, and we ate together every night. Didn't realize how good we had it. After the World War, they promised gold-backed dollars, but they broke that promise. They printed paper backed by nothing, funded wars we couldn't afford and shouldn't have been involved in. But France caught on and sent a warship to get back their gold. Truth is, if more countries followed, our vaults would be empty and game over.
I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold.
Turns out, when you fake the money, everything else follows, and you screw the next generation over. And it snowballs, kid. Prices shot up, paychecks didn't, life got tougher, and nobody knew why. We tried raising our kids the old way, but we didn't have the time or the money.
So you outsourced parenting?
Yeah, I guess you could say we did. Government schools raised them, and the TV taught them bad morals. They learned debt, not savings. Bought houses they couldn't afford. Played video games, gambling, antidepressants, and crimes. Families fractured. Divorce rates doubled. Birth rates plummeted. Things got so bad, people started financing Chipotle.
Financing a burrito?
Yeah, it's getting bad. Obesity, people eating cheap slop instead of real food. We got softer, sicker, and lazier. A nation in decline. But it didn't happen overnight. When Nixon left the gold standard, we traded sound money for a lifetime of debt.
How will they ever pay it back?
I don't think they plan to. Both sides keep spending like there's no tomorrow and leaving the bill to your generation. We didn't get it right, but you've still got a chance. So, take the reins, kid. Hold your ground and don't give up on sound money.
Yeah, don't give up on sound money. There's this, you know, we saw how Fink, what's it, BlackRock is his name, Fink, Larry Fink, or whatever his name is, the new chairman of the board of the World Economic Forum, co-chair, whatever, because that's not bad. Says he wants to tokenize everything, you know, tokenize everything. Well, CNBC's reporting, because token, you know, it's honest, fair. Nobody would cheat or do anything wrong, or there would never be any technical difficulties if we just digitized everything, right? CNBC reporting. U.S. budget deficit edged. Whoops, that's the wrong story. That's a good story. The deficit went down. They're saying that in the last month. This is the one I wanted. They're saying that last month we took in about $250 billion more than we spent. That's good. You know, multiply that times about 20. Maybe we could pay some debt off. We just started a Dave Ramsey debt snowball. I'm just saying. PayPal's crypto partner. This is what I wanted to get to. Panther mints a whopping $300 trillion worth of stable coins in technical error. Oops. Golly gee, we made a mistake. Paxios, a blockchain partner of PayPal, mistakenly minted $300 trillion worth of online payment giant stablecoin on Wednesday in what the company called a technical error. Market watchers had spotted an enormous injection of PayPal PYUSD stablecoins on Etherscan, a block explorer and analytics platform for Ethereum blockchain. Paxios had mistakenly minted the stablecoins as part of an internal transfer before it immediately identified the error and burned the excess PYUSDs, the company said in a social media statement. This was an internal technical error. There's no security breach. Customer funds are safe. We have addressed the root cause, and it added PayPal didn't respond to an inquiry from CNBC outside its regular business hours. You know, $300 trillion says there aren't enough dollars in global circulation to back $300 trillion PY. Basically, these are coins that they're attached to dollars. They follow the dollar. So the $1 worth of dollars is $1 worth of these coins, and they accidentally printed 300 trillion of them. I mean, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? Oh, we are living in La La world. You know, this is in Singapore. You know, the rest of the world is getting on, is understanding what's going on with gold and silver. The United States ain't, because the United States is watching football and watching the World Series and watching How to Kill Your Husband and Get Away with It shows on Discovery Investigations. So that's the ones my wife likes to watch. You know, not paying any attention. CNBC and MSNBC and Fox News aren't talking about it. But over in Singapore, they got it figured out. So over in Singapore, they're lining up to buy gold and silver because they see it coming. We ain't got time in this country. We ain't got no time for such foolishness. Thought I had another one. Where's the other one at? Here's another story talking about what's going on, the crisis in gold and silver right now. It says for the first time, even retail buyers are starting to feel it. One investor shared that her bullion order from a major dealer, usually shipped next day, was suddenly delayed 5 days. It might sound minor, but it is the first visible crack in what is happening behind the scenes. Last Friday, October 10th, the world's largest silver market in London completely seized up. Liquidity did not thin out or slow down. It vanished. The so-called free float, the physical silver available for delivery, hit effectively zero. That is alarming because London is the heart of gold and silver price discovery. Every miner, refinery, and bank uses those daily benchmark fixes to price their trades. But the system is not backed by real metal. It turns out, it runs on allocated paper claims that outnumber physical supply by staggering multiples. For decades, those paper promises created fake abundance. Billions of ounces traded daily on the London spot market through global mine supply. Though global mine supply is only a fraction of that, the result can be chronic underpricing, chronic underproduction, and slow development of real inventories. Now the paper system is breaking down. The zero liquidity event, backwardation, and 200% lease rates in London are the first clear signs of stress. It is what happens when too many people holding IOU silver demand delivery all at once, and there's not enough metal to go around. This is what I talk about when you've heard me say that our economy is musical chairs, and the music and the people are going around and around and around and around, and where it stops nobody knows. There are no chairs. So when the music stops and they scramble for chairs, there's no chairs. As long as the music playing, everything is fine. Some call it logistics, but we have heard that excuse before. The truth is that the mountain of synthetic supply in London is collapsing, and the physical market is taking control. When paper falls, metal price reprices fast. We're about to go. There's a lot of people saying we're going through a repricing in the metals market. Silver's real value is surfacing, not as a speculative trade, but as a scarce monetary industrial metal that's been suppressed for decades. The repricing has only just begun. Yep. We're in that's circus music. I picked that music on purpose. It's either that or the Benny Hill music, which I don't have that one in my head. I can't do it off the top. I'd have to go find it, and I couldn't play it right now because I'm on YouTube and Facebook, and they'd say copyright. There's a prophet that said silver would be $2,000 an ounce. Well, if gold goes to 30, silver's probably not that far behind. Just saying. Oh, what a world we live in. So he's talking about there was a word there. There was a word there in that story. Let me go back and make sure I get it right. There was a word there in the story that I can't remember the word now. That doesn't matter. That Peter St. Angela did a thing on. He talked about it. We are seeing unprecedented things. I'm going to get to Peter St. Ange's. I'm doing things out of order. You know, you guys have watched my show long enough that I set up a nice, pretty little order of things and then blow it out of the water when I start talking because I don't know, because I'm a glutton for punishment and I cannot find the Peter. There it is. So Peter St. Ange, he talked about this yesterday.
The silver squeeze is on as the white knight rides amid a global shortage that has already taken silver prices up 70% on the year, crossing $52 an ounce for the first time in history. Is it time to melt the silverware? After surging 27% in just 2 months, last week silver hit something called backwardation, which is when it's in such short supply that the current price is above its future price. That is not normal. In fact, silver only went backward for one single day between the 1930s, when silver futures were normalized, and the 2008 crisis. That was in 1980 when the notorious Hunt brothers tried to corner the silver market, failed spectacularly, and set off a mini financial panic. But since the 2008 crisis, silver has gone backwards 4 times. That's roughly once every 4 years. In case you're curious, gold also had just 2 backward days between the 30s and 2008, and it's also gone backwards 4 times since then, suggesting our financial system is now systemically unstable, as in maybe you should buy some silver or gold. What's driving the silver squeeze and gold's gallop is the so-called debasement trade, where ballooning government debt is driving both inflation and default concerns. That's driven a flood of new money into gold and silver ETFs, both gained about 30% on the year in terms of new money. But silver gets an extra boost from massive demand for industrial silver in AI data centers, solar panels, and electric vehicles. Given AI alone now accounts for 1/5 of the stock market, that's a lot of chips to feed. All this demand is crashing into historically tight supply, with above-ground physical silver inventories down almost 20% since 2021, despite soaring demand. This is driving annualized silver borrowing rates past 30% in London. That's by far the highest in history. Normally, interest rates are just around 4%. Now, usually the pressure valve on silver and gold is expand mining, but silver mining has actually been stagnant since 2019. This is because most silver mining is a byproduct of industrial mining like copper or zinc, where there's falling Chinese demand as their economy slowed first in COVID and now in the trade war. So as next brought to you by I Trust Capital, silver is famously volatile, about twice the stock market and 3 times gold. In fact, in the past year, silver has been half as volatile as Bitcoin. As for what's next, previous episodes of silver backwardation have been a mixed bag. Twice, it kept rallying, rising 52% in 2008 and 79% in COVID. Twice it crashed, dropping 60% in the 1980 Hunt Brothers corner and 23% in a random 2021 meme frenzy. And the last time in 2011, it zigzagged, coming out even 12 months later. So who knows, but big picture, the debasement trade will keep boosting silver, along with gold and Bitcoin, while the extra boost silver is getting from the AI bubble probably has room to run, suggesting silver volatility isn't going away and gold could be next. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Yeah, it's all adding up to a really bad day. Here are all the regional banks that suffered yesterday evening after closing. Just a little bit in case you wanted to see it. You know, no big deal. Just a little bit going on. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll just do things out of order how I had it. Then, so this creator, social media influencer. He's asking a question. What happened in 1971? Well, I'll tell you what happened. I was born.
What the heck happened in 1971? Productivity and hourly wages always went up together, but then in 1971, something happened. Wages began to stagnate while productivity has continued to go up, and that's just the start. The price of a Campbell soup can was 10 cents for the longest time, but since 1971, it has skyrocketed to now over $1.20 per can. And get this, before 1971, it took you around 2 years to save for a house, but now it takes 7. The top 1% of earners have continued to see their income grow since 1971, but the bottom 90% has not. And look how many countries have had a banking crisis since 1971. Since 1971, the US national debt has gone completely vertical. Same with healthcare costs. And oddly enough, we've had a massive growth of administrators while the amount of physicians has stayed flat. And just look how the American diet has changed since 1971. Less beef and potatoes and way more corn and chicken. This one's crazy. Look at the global production of vegetable oil since 1971. Obesity among young children was 5% in 1971, but now it's over 20%. Even the number of prisoners has skyrocketed since 1971. Unfortunately, people are getting married later too. In 1971, the average age was around 23, but now it's closer to 30. The prices of electricity, food, and fruit have all dramatically gone up since 1971 too. In 1971, President Nixon ended the gold standard, meaning the US dollar was no longer backed by gold. And since then, things have gotten a lot worse. What do you think about all this? And don't get me started on shrinkflation.
Tradeflation. No, what do you think started all this? Well, we decided that we wanted to go to this. That's what it is. We wanted to get rid of our real currency. This, I don't know if you can see it. It's a rough old Morgan silver dollar. It's pretty rough. There, can you kind of see it? It doesn't catch it. My camera doesn't catch it with my lighting. One of these things is not like the other. That's basically our dollar is a Zimbabwe dollar. And 1971 is when it started. And we just drove the dollar into the ground. And if you think about it, that Morgan silver dollar is worth about $50. Now, I understand. I know how it works. I know that here was a spot price last night. So I know that a Morgan silver dollar is only 90% silver. So it's a little bit less than sterling because they put some alloys in there to make it stronger so it's not so soft. But this point still remains. So if that's worth $50, just imagine if we went, if we decided to reevaluate our dollar back to an ounce of silver, an ounce of coin silver, 90% silver. Just imagine we valued our silver dollar at $50. I did the math on it at $35. Remember when I did that? Eggs were like 10 cents. A gallon of milk was like 10 cents. A loaf of bread was like 5 cents. Just imagine. A US $50 coin, or or make the dollar worth a $50 silver coin. Peg the dollar to silver. $1 is worth 1 ounce of silver. Prices, I mean, it would be catastrophic. It really would in the economy till everything got readjusted, but how much better off would it be? You know, what the problem is that the government couldn't just print money all willy-nilly that way. They'd have to have the silver to cover it. And therein lies the problem. But the globalists get rich. Listen to this. Dow Jones gold ratio is about to cross a level only seen 3 times in history. 2008, 1973, and 1929. And you can see it on the graph there. You can see it. This is the line. Cross, 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 and here we are right here. Every time the Dow gold ratio hits this level, 29, 73, and 08, the illusion of infinite paper wealth shattered. It wasn't equities that saved portfolios in those resets. It was real stores of value. The ratio isn't just a chart, it's a canary. But our pay would be like $3 an hour. Yeah. But imagine what you could buy with that $3 an hour. I sold cars back in the 90s. There was an old guy. Been in the car business whole life. His dad owned a Pontiac dealership. His name was Virgil. He, old guy, should have been retired, but he was still selling cars. He said he remembers in the late 60s when his Pontiac dealership, when Pontiacs got to $3,000, he says, that's it. The car business is over. No one's going to buy new cars anymore at $3,000. Well, here we are. Could you imagine going and buying yourself a brand new Chevy pickup truck for $3,000? Well, I'm only making $3 an hour. Yeah. The world was better back then. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out reality. Oh, we live in very, very interesting times. I still wanted to start out with that today, but I've got other things that I want to talk about, which we'll get to here in just a second. Let me just make sure there's not one more. Oh yeah, there is right here. This is this is in the Philippines, I think. Philippines or Singapore, I don't remember which. Tonica Precious Metal Group Company said Thursday it paused sales of 5 to 50 gram gold bars and platinum bars 5 to 10 grams. And this is breaking news. Japan's largest gold retail suspended sales of small bullion bars for at least the next month. All over the world, it's starting to show. Where it hasn't started yet, when you know that the bar that's going to get crazy. When you know that it's going to get crazy is when MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News starts talking about it. They aren't talking about it right now. It ain't making and there's lots of other things to talk about, so I get it. Lots of other things to talk about. Market cap. Gold just hit the largest market cap ever, if anything, at $30 trillion. At least until the technical layer over there at PayPal with $300 trillion. It's not how any of this works. That's not going to work good. Not going to work at all. Yep. Did y'all see this? The turtle? The turtle's on the loose. Did y'all see this?
My name is Stella. I want to ask, do you support ICE taking working people off the streets and kidnapping them?
The guy needs to be in a nursing home. What in the world? Just holding the seat. That's all he's doing. Holding the seat, trying to maintain control. It really is sad. I mean, it really is sad. You know, somebody did something here. Somebody did something here. Did y'all see? It just is. So he had a press conference afterwards. Went a little something like that.
Senator, is your head okay after that fall? Senator?
Have you all ever seen my Mitch McConnell impersonation? Here's something like this. How'd you like that? Pretty good, huh? How many going, oh no, it's froze. My screen is froze. Come on. How many times you watch the show? You know, I do that all the time. Oh, we're living in a strange world. A strange world. And someone needs to stop it. I want to get off. Just okay. Breaking news as of yesterday. Here is the breaking news. This is MSNBC. This is not the breaking news. This is the speculation before the news broke. But they say something I want you to pay attention to because we're going to talk about it.
Good morning, Ariel. We believe that prosecutors are presenting charges under the Espionage Act accusing John Bolton of mishandling classified information. That comes after the FBI secured search warrants to search his home and office and found some classified documents in that search. But it's not clear that those were related to what this case is about. The affidavit of probable cause also mentions that John Bolton's email account had been hacked by a foreign government, and the referral for this case came from the CIA, and it's my understanding that the U.S. found some information as they were gathering intelligence from that foreign government. They found John Bolton's emails, essentially, and they discovered things that led them to be suspicious that he was mishandling classified information, and that's what generated this case. This was back in the Biden administration. However, that Justice Department did not move forward with the case. There were some concerns about revealing the access that the U.S. had to the foreign government. The Trump administration made a different calculation. They are moving forward with the case. Of course, everyone knows that John Bolton is a political adversary and critic of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has said, he does not appreciate John Bolton at all. There was a dispute about a book that John Bolton wrote. The Trump administration, the first Trump administration, accused him of putting classified information in that book. So now here we are with prosecutors presenting to a grand jury and trying to seek an indictment that could come as soon as this afternoon, Ariel.
Now here we are. Lisa, so do we know anything about who could be arguing this case to the grand jury?
So they said a couple things. I'm laughing at you guys' comment. Mike froze up, so I went out and came back in. That's the Mitch McConnell. I do Bernie Sanders. I do Nancy Pelosi. Not very good, but I do them. But I think my best impersonation is Mitch McConnell. How many times I get you guys on that one? It isn't froze up. Mitch McConnell. That's the impersonation. That's the joke. Come on. If I'm talking about Mitch McConnell and I suddenly freeze up, you got to realize it's part of the joke. The classified materials found in his mustache. So two things there that you need to that they said in that little spot just before the indictments came out, that he was hacked, his emails were hacked, and that the Joe Biden administration didn't want to go after it because they didn't want the foreign adversary to know. Those two things, write that down. Hacked and foreign adversary. Now, mind you, let me add, he got caught with military documents, top secret classified military documents on weapons of mass destruction that he emailed to his wife on AOL. Just write that down. Weapons of mass destruction, foreign adversary, and hacked. Because we're gonna go down the road. We're gonna things that were talked about today. Because I think this is important. Here is CBS News reporting indictments. Bum, bum, bum. Yes, AOL.
I said AOL.
Charges here, 8 counts of the charge: transmission of national defense information and retention of national defense information. They're citing documents that he's accused of transmitting between September 2018 and, as I go to the bottom of this charging document, September 2019, over a 12-month period. John, they've assigned a judge to this case, Theodore Chung, in Greenbelt, Maryland, just outside of Washington. Chung is a 2013 appointee of then President Obama.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's charged. And of course, it's all Donald Trump going after his political enemies. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's way more than that. There's this story too happening. So yesterday was the day all of the media was kicked out of the Pentagon. And here's an explanation of what really happened.
There is a media revolt. I'm not part of it, okay? There's a media revolt on Pete Hegseth, the way he's doing the media at the Pentagon. Now, last month, the Pentagon released new rules for reporters aimed at protecting the nation's security. These rules were pretty freaking simple, okay? Hegseth put out an X, and here's what he said. Pentagon access is a privilege, not a right. So here is at Department of War press credentialing for dummies. See, this guy's got balls. He said, press no longer roams free in the hallways of the Pentagon. Why should they? Why should you be able to roam? You can't roam free in the White House. You can't just roam the halls. They've been doing it forever. That's number. By the way, this is the same Pete Hegseth that broke up the seating cabal and threw out the legacy media and put in the new media. That's what we need to do at the White House. Grow a pair and see what happens. Number 2, press must wear a visible badge. Okay, see this badge here? See this badge? This is my White House press badge. You can't get in the gates without it. You have to wear it. See, this is a badge right here. You hang it up on your head, very simple thing to do, and you have a badge. And in order to get access to anything in the White House grounds, including the Eisenhower building, you need to have this badge and you have to be wearing it. And if you are not, security will escort you out rather diligently. This is called a badge. You go to the White House, you wear it. Why can't you wear it at the Pentagon? The hell's wrong with these people? Number 3, credential press no longer permitted to solicit criminal acts. What are the criminal acts, you ask? Okay, here's the criminal acts. Leaking stuff out of the Pentagon. So they roam the halls. They have the preferred seating. They have their little guineas in there. They have their little moles. They go to them. They leak classified information, which is illegal, and then they print it, which is protected. That is no longer allowed. Sorry.
So the press is upset because they're enforcing the law. Because they can't go around, getting unnamed sources to say they're BS stories. Unnamed sources from the Pentagon say that Pete Hegseth is an a-hole. They can't do that anymore. So the entire press corps, except for OAN, is kaput. On principled grounds, they say. Well, I doubt that. George on X says, yeah, John Bolton will definitely spend the rest of his life in jail. The entire indictment is just him snitching on himself as he shares national secrets, thinking no one will ever see. Busted. More stuff coming, none of which we talk about. Shh. It's there. Yes, there's superseding indictments coming here. What do you mean by that? Because this is connected. This is all connected. There's a reason they're doing it the way they're doing it. Here's Cash Patel.
These indictments that you've seen and the ones that you're going to see coming up here in this near future are just the beginning. But I have to remind the audience one thing. Everybody's like, it's 7 months. What have you guys been doing? Yeah. Well, they spent 20 years building this disease temple of corruption. It takes a little bit of time to defeat it and beat it down. And I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to look at the work the men and women of the FBI have done so far in these 7-8 months and just imagine what we're going to do come the year end.
Just imagine what we're going to do come the year end. Oh, by the way, we saw that Dominion last week, Dominion Voting Systems, was bought out by a mega Republican from Missouri. Wonder where he got the funds for that. Anyways, that happened. And why did they sell? I mean, why would you don't have to sell, but why did they sell? There's this story breaking today. Miami AP federal prosecutors have charged voting technology firm Smartmatic with money laundering and other crimes arising from more than $1 million in bribes that several executives allegedly paid to election officials in the Philippines. Oh, yeah. They're charging them with bribery and money laundering in Miami. So we got Bolton being charged. We got James being charged. We got Comey being charged. We got others on the docket getting ready to come. We got Dominion Voting Systems being bought. Why would they want to buy that? That organization wants the paper ballots. They didn't buy it for that. They bought it because now they own the machines and the algorithm. You see, justthenews.com and the other one, the guy with the big Tom, what's his name? His organization have been suing Dominion and Smartmatic to get the algorithms and access to the machines so they can do forensic research on the machines. Mike Lindell should get his money back. Absolutely. Mike Lindell, too, trying to get all that information. They've lost every single time. Well, guess what? A mega Republican Trump supporter guy who is a voting rights expert just bought Dominion. He didn't buy Dominion to sell electronic voting machines. He bought Dominion to get a hold of that algorithm. You know, the algorithm. Tom Fitton, thank you. Judicial Watch. I couldn't come up with blanket on that. You know, you only blank on stuff like this while you're live. I could probably do CNN, MSNBC, or Fox News because they got a teleprompter right there and they don't have any thought. They just read it. No, I probably could. You've heard me read. Anyways, moving on. So now Smartmatic is in play. So you got to think about this for a second. Let's just Donald Trump's not doing anything. No one's being arrested. Blah. Candace Owens is right. It's all the Jews. Don't be distracted by the hype. All the Patriot mythology pushers out there pushing their Patriot mythology for clicks and likes. I don't give a rip about clicks and likes. I'm going to say what is as inspired by the Holy Spirit. And if you don't like it, go watch Candace Owens. Think about this for a second. Just look at the landscape. We're all going to jump in a Elon Musk rocket ship, and we're going to shoot up to 100,000 feet. And we're going to look out the window at the landscape here. Donald Trump gets in office. He gets Kash Patel. He gets Dan Bongino. He gets Pam Bundy. He gets others in place in certain places. And things start happening. He gets Doge involved, right? He gets RFK Jr. involved. Things start happening. We find out that the USAID has been paying all the media worldwide. We find out that the USAID has been sending money here and there and everywhere to support causes that are anti-United States of America. We've cut that off completely. We find out that there are over 1 million federal employees that don't exist that have been getting paychecks going to, I don't know, the Cayman Islands, and we cut that off. We find out that all these NGOs have been getting all this cash from all these agencies, and we cut that off. We find out that the Joe Biden administration, the day or two after they lost the election, created NGOs and gave billions and billions and billions of dollars to those NGOs, and we've clawed all that money back, or as much as we could. We've eliminated overregulation in the EPA. We've eliminated overregulation, or much of it, in the education. We've eliminated a bunch of overregulation in the IRS. We've changed the focus of the IRS from going after patriots to going after criminals. We've got Homeland Security and ICE and Border Patrol going nuts all over our country, getting rid of the most violent gangbangers. We've got DC now cleaned up like never before. And other cities are now following right behind. We got to shut down border completely. And now we got 10% of our military assets hovering around Venezuela. Venezuela has been one of the major contributors to all the crime and corruption and legal crap that's been happening since Joe Biden became president. We've got peace breaking out. We've got Donald Trump right now negotiating with Putin, going to get peace there too. We got Fannie down in Georgia, completely decapitated. All the charges against Trump are gone. We're now going after the perpetrators. We got Bolton. Now we got the voting system all around the country, especially in red states. They're going to paper ballots. They're passing laws. We've got this surge of redoing the districts that's going to give 19 or 20 seats in the House and a couple seats in the Senate to Republicans. And now the Supreme Court's about to rule, because you got Kanye Brown Jackson, whatever her name is, saying black people are disabled. That's why we need these districts, because white racist Democrats won't vote for black people. They're about to lose 19 seats in the House because of this. Do the math. That's 40 seats in the House. That's a super majority coming. And now you have Dominion voting machines owned by Mega and Smartmatics being charged with bribery and money laundering. Systematically, Donald Trump, since he took office, has been cutting off their ability to manipulate, to control, to fund their operations. All of the deep state paid for mainstream media apparatus has just been kicked out of the Pentagon. Sources within the Pentagon tell us. Look where we are, ladies and gentlemen. No. We got to be upset. We got to find reasons to be upset. It's the Jews. Let me tell you something. Is there bad people in the Jewish government that do bad things? Yes. Could people within the Jewish government, progressive socialist, Marxist liberals, the same progressive socialist, Marxist liberals in the United States, the same deep state, Hillary Clinton, Barack Hussein Obama et al., the same World Economic Forum people over there in Israel had something to do with October 7th? Manipulated that situation? Abso-freaking-lutely. Yep. The same people that were going after Donald Trump for financial crimes are going after Benjamin Netanyahu for financial crimes, are going after, what's her name, Le Pen in France. The court just ruled she can't run for president, even though she's leading in all the polls. The same people that went after the former president of Brazil for financial crimes, the same people that are going after Milei, or how you say his name, in Argentina for financial crimes, the same people that are trying to go after the president of El Salvador, who FAFO, he don't give a rip. The same people that are going after Putin, the same people who installed Vladimir Zelensky to protect Joe Biden because Joe Biden was the money guy for the deep state operation over there in Ukraine. The same people that ousted the president of Poland 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, they got a new president in Poland that's make Poland great again. I guess that would be I don't know how that acronym would go. But anyways, you get the point. They're all the same group of people. And they do dirty, dastardly things. And they don't do them dirt cheap. And they're controlled by the same spirit of this age. Yeah, I said it. I said it. It's true. Those same people that control the Democrat Party and 90% of the Republican Party. Donald Trump has decapitated them, defunded them, and is now lining them up like golf balls on the carpet at the shooting range. I mean, whack, whack, whack. John Bolton, whack. Because this is connected. John Bolton is connected. I'm going to show you. I've talked about it already. You should already know where I'm going. Says that ex-National Security Advisor John Bolton indicted for improper handling of classified documents. Former White House National Security Advisor John Bolton was indicted Thursday for improper handling of classified materials. Oh, he's charged with more than that. 18 charges, and it's more than that. I think it was Marine said he's read the document. He's screwed. He is totally screwed. Superseding indictments coming. Seditious conspiracy and treason. I guarantee you, with Bolton, it's coming. Unless, we'll get to that. Write that word down too. Unless. Let me write it down so I remember. Unless. Hacked former adversaries. Unless. Cash Patel says, anyone who threatens our national security, let me read that slower for the people in the back playing their video games, waiting for the mom to bring them down some Hot Pockets. Anyone who threatens our national security, this isn't just classified documents, will be held accountable. And Dan Bongino says, without fear or favor. Yeah. Yep. Here is MSNBC on John Bolton being indicted. You know, most of the media, well, let's just listen before I get into that.
Also the case that unlike the other charges with James Comey and Letitia James, there's a slew of career people who signed this indictment. At the very last page, you see what you normally would see, sort of trial attorneys, AUSAs. So all of that is sort of on the one hand. And as somebody in the intelligence community previously, I really do take this incredibly seriously. The reason you have to keep two things in mind at the same time is that there are two systems of justice going on. Donald Trump was alleged to do something far worse in many ways, with many more documents and two forms of obstruction of justice. Pete Hegseth used Signal, which is also not a secure system for classified information, to what I think has to be classified information that was highly sensitive. And you don't see Pete Hegseth being investigated at all. I would note that Jack Smith, in the interview that I conducted, said that any administration, any normal one, would have opened a criminal case on that. So I think there's sort of two things going on at the same time. And I have to tell you, I think the most serious is two systems of justice, because that is something that's a systemic flaw, a systemic problem with what's going on in America.
Joyce?
Now, at first he said that Bolton is in trouble, that this is legit. Then he went, but Donald Trump, Mar-a-Lago, oh, they didn't, oh my gosh. Donald Trump was president of the United States of America. And if he gave himself classified documents to take home, according to the Supreme Court, when Tom Fitton sued to get the documents that were hidden in a sock drawer at Bill Clinton's house, Supreme Court ruled that as president, he could do that. Only one person on the planet can declassify classified documents with a thought. Just a thought. Here's some classified information on weapons of mass destruction. Hey, Mike, take a look at this. If the president did that, hey, Carol, take a look at this. Hey, Judy, take a look at this. Hey, Julia, take a look at this. Hey, Tard and Feather, take a look at this. Just by doing that, the president declassifies those documents, according to the Supreme Court. The National Security Advisor? Nope. The Vice President? Nope. The Secretary of State? Nope. Any congressman or senator? Nope. Any Supreme Court justice? Nope. Any other justice? Nope. Any bureaucrat? Nope. None of them. Zip, zero, nada has that power. Only the president. That's why this crap with Mar-a-Lago and the documents, they knew it was never going to, even if they got a conviction, it had been overturned. Because if Donald Trump got convicted, they could go back and convict Joe Biden. Joe Biden had documents in his basement from when he was vice president. Nope. They could convict Barack Hussein Obama. They could convict Clinton. They can convict George W. Who's else still alive? They go after all of them. That's the truth of the matter. Here's MSNBC. Trump administration probes political foes. Loretta James, indicted. James Comey, indicted. Representative LaMonica McIver, I forgot about her, indicted. John Bolton, indicted. This Mayor Ras Bakabar, I don't know. I don't even know who he is. Don't care. And Fannie Wills, she's on the list. But let's talk about this for a second. James Comey, well, let's start over here. LaMonica was indicted because she physically assaulted a police officer, an officer of the law, on camera. So that's not political enemies, that's facts. Number two, James Comey was indicted because 5 days from when they indicted him, the statute of limitations run out on lying to Congress. Superseding indictment coming, connected to Bolton. Letitia St. James, Loretta St. James, whatever her name is, depending on who you talk to, was indicted as a huge FAFO to about 80% of government. Why do I say that? Because Adam Shifty Schiff is guilty of the exact same thing, mortgage fraud, by saying that his home in Baltimore, right outside of Baltimore, the Beltway, is his permanent residence. Well, he's caught in a catch-22 because either his home is his permanent residence and he didn't commit mortgage fraud, and he cannot be senator from California. Listen to what I'm saying to you. I keep telling you that the majority of the House and the Senate, by the time this is all done, will not be there. It will not be a matter of, do we have enough votes to pass a bill? It'll be, do we have enough people to have a quorum? Listen to what I'm saying to you. He has a choice. Either he committed mortgage fraud or he has to resign because he no longer lives in California, according to the Constitution. And 80 to 90% of elected officials in D.C. are doing the exact same thing. Let me say that slower for the people in the back room who just got their Hot Pockets from the mama and they burnt the top of their mouth. 80 to 90% of elected officials in D.C. are doing the exact same thing. Letitia James' indictment is a OF. Everybody went, oh, crap, because they're all doing the same thing. It's a little secret. Better to resign than live in California. I agree. I agree 100%. Because, you know, California is fruits, nuts, and flakes. Now, Bolton, he's connected to everybody. Bolton is the first, he's the legit first domino in this. He's the legit first domino in all of this. Here we go.
Bolton, the former national security advisor to Donald Trump, a longtime federal government official, has been indicted by a grand jury. We are learning that through two different sources from our producer, Hannah Rabinowitz at the Justice Department. And we have confirmed that the grand jury was in today with the lead prosecutor on that case, the same prosecutor who had been on some of the documents of the search of Bolton's house just 2 months ago, or not even 2 months ago, a prosecutor who also has some experience in investigating these sorts of things. He was a prosecutor that was also working on the Biden classified documents handling investigation that led to no charges. But in this situation, the bulk of this case, it's been going on for several years, and our understanding is that it's about John Bolton's use of an email account with AOL, an email account where he was writing diary-like notes and summaries of his time as national security advisor to himself, at times even sending them to his wife and daughter. And that is the sort of thing that the Justice Department does say frequently, not just in the climate of a Trump administration, that that's something that you should not do. We have seen many charges like this before of other high-ranking officials, and that also with John Bolton in those search warrants, and what we're very likely to see in court going forward is that the Justice Department saying he should have known better.
He should have known better. So surely you say, don't forget the 500,000 unsealed indictment. Who says? Where's the proof of that? Oh yeah, I saw that back then too, and I fell for it. I'm not saying there isn't. I'm just saying, where's the evidence of it? I don't believe. My faith is in God, not in this stupid Patriot conspiracy theory crap. There's 500 unsealed. Where? Who said? Who's got those indictments? So no, this stuff right here, what they're doing with Bolton, was an investigation opened by Joe Biden administration. They just picked up where that left off. Bolton is a perfect patsy for this coup. Good point, but it's not going to end with him. Remember, she just said it. AOL. He sent these emails to his wife. Hacked. There's a reason for this. Here's Mike Davis on all of this. This is a much, much, much larger criminal conspiracy.
It's out of the District of Maryland. The U.S. Attorney in the District of Maryland is a career federal prosecutor. They worked with the National Security Division in Main Justice. There are several career attorneys' names on this indictment. So this is not a political indictment. It's a very serious indictment. You're looking at 18 different counts against John Bolton. I think 8 of them were for transmitting national defense information. That means he was sending national defense information apparently through his AOL accounts or his personal email accounts. And then they got him for 10 counts of retaining national defense information. These are very serious espionage charges. And what's so damning for John Bolton in this indictment is they go through in this indictment to show his knowledge and intent. They go through and quote John Bolton in the past for when he's talked about how doing the very things he allegedly did here is a very serious national security crime, espionage. And they go through these documents, and some of these documents are top secret with code names. So these are beyond top secret documents, for as far as I can tell, from his time as the president's national security advisor. So he had access to some of the most, he had access to the most classified information in all of our governments, and he's sending it via personal email, and he's retaining it. So you're not going to be able to say this is a political case here with the career prosecutors in the District of Maryland, the career prosecutors at Main Justice, and the National Security Division, and just the magnitude of the number of classified documents, highly classified documents that he sent and that he retained. He's in a very deep hole, and it looks like John Bolton, if these allegations are true, he's going to go to prison for a very long time.
Walk us through the timeline on this. Is there going to be a perp walk? What does that look like?
That's a very good question. That's going to be up to the prosecutors in the District of Maryland. I know Lindsay Halligan made the decision, and I think the correct decision. I didn't think it was correct at the time, but I understood her rationale. She made the correct decision not to perp walk James Comey and Tish James, Big Tish, for their charges in the Eastern District of Virginia for lying to Congress, false statements to Congress, and obstruction of a congressional investigation for Comey, for mortgage fraud, bank fraud, and false statements to a financial institution for Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General, because she didn't want to create sympathy for those defendants in the Eastern District of Virginia, which is loaded up with government workers and other Democrats. You're going to have the same issue in Maryland. And so we may not see perp walks here because they may want to keep this low key. On the other hand, espionage is a very serious charge, as John Bolton has said repeatedly, and as the prosecutors outlined in this indictment. This was an indictment by Democrats, largely Democrats, in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. and Maryland, just like Lindsay got with the suburbs of D.C. in Alexandria, in the Eastern District of Virginia. I'm reading through, again, I'm just reading through this now. It's 26 pages, but these are very serious charges.
Mike, if people want to follow you, stay up to date with everything you're working on, where can they go to do that?
So you can see where this is starting to build up and get a little bit bigger. Now, Fox News reporting Bolton's response to being charged.
To 2006. He says an objective and thorough review will show nothing inappropriate was stored or kept by Ambassador Bolton. So John Bolton indicted for allegedly mishandling classified documents, and he had said many times in the past during the raid on Mar-a-Lago, or when classified documents were found at President Biden's home in Wilmington, Delaware. Remember, he had an investigation too for classified documents. Bolton criticized both those men, and he said, quote, because if the people at the top can be casual about it when they get away with it, that is not a good lesson to teach, end quote. That was John Bolton in 2023. So still very fresh. This just broke. We're waiting to get some reaction from Bolton's team. I reached out to his attorney, Mr. Lowell, and we're waiting to see about this indictment being unsealed to get a little bit more detail here. Will.
Okay.
Now remember, Bolton's been heavily critical of Trump. Bolton campaigned for Kamala Harris. Why do you think that is? Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why that is. Because he's scared to death this day. He knew. So we haven't got to it yet, but we're going to get to it. He knew what he was doing. It was intentional. And it was for profit.
I said what I said.
may be of the highest level of sensitivity, or they may not. We just don't know. So we could speculate all night here. I'd prefer that the Justice Department move as rapidly as possible as they can through this, in order that as much as can be made and would be made public is done as quickly as we can, because otherwise the department is left out there twisting in the wind, to use a Watergate phrase, and it doesn't have adequate defenses against the political onslaught of Donald Trump.
He prefers that they move rapidly in prosecuting Donald Trump to prevent him from becoming president, because the Justice Department is twisting in the wind. No, because you are twisting in the wind. Because you are the sucker. Oh, yeah, and you know it, too. Now, here we go. Here we go. Foreign adversary. Look at you. OMG. Iran hacked John Bolton's email account, a personal email account he was using to peddling top secret information. What have I been telling you for weeks? That they don't no longer go down to the sub-basement parking garage and hand off the files of the orange crop estimate down in Florida for a manila envelope of cash. That's not how it works. No. You email it in an unsecured email. And then Iran hacks and gets the information they want on Defense Department weapons of mass destruction information. Hello? Think about it for a minute. Just like Hillary Clinton did with her 30,000 emails that, according to Anthony Weiner's laptop, is actually 300,000 emails. She put all that stuff on a server when she was Secretary of State and went around peddling it for donations to the Clinton Global Initiative, so they could buy more kids. I mean, help more kids. Buck Sexton says this guy's getting sent to prison for mishandling classified information he didn't transmit it or share with anyone. Hillary Clinton committed exactly the same thing, but they did transmit it. Plausible deniability. John Bolton is, with the exception of Hillary, by far the worst offender of them all. Just like Hillary Clinton. John Bolton. And you know what? He's not the only one. Because remember, Barack Hussein Obama transmitted information back and forth with Hillary Clinton on her secret off-the-books server. Joe Biden did under pseudonym names. Several other high-ranking, Nancy Pelosi, Chucky Schumer, John Kerry, who served in Vietnam, Mitch McConnell, they all communicated on Hillary Clinton's server under assumed names. Do you remember what Mitt Romney's Pierre Delectable? Remember that? Everybody, all the Patriot mythology push was going, it's the children, they're trading children pics. Well, that was just Anthony Weiner showing his wiener. No. It's much more deviant than that. They were selling out the American people. How did the Chinese go from not being able to launch a rocket without it exploding, not being able to build an aircraft that would fly, to being almost a peer with the United States of America in 20 years? Huh? Oh, yeah. They're exactly the same. They're all doing the same thing. All doing the same thing. Let's see here. Oh, here it is right here. So this is the FBI's official release. It says the FBI investigation revealed that John Bolton allegedly transmitted top secret information using personal online accounts and retained said documents in his house, direct violation of federal law. The case was based on meticulous work from the dedicated career professionals at the FBI who followed the facts without fear or favor. Same thing Dan Bongino just said. Weaponization of justice, it will not be tolerated, and the FBI will stop at nothing to bring to justice anyone who threatens our national security. Anyone. And that's what this is really all about, is national security. By the way, yesterday, the Senate, for the 10th time, voted whether or not to reopen the government, and the Democrats voted no. Also, they tried to pass a bill. It passed to the House. It went to the Senate. The Senate failed to pass the bipartisan bill to fund the Department of War, putting troops' pay and military operations at risk as the shutdown continues. And Donald Trump maneuvered to get them to get paid on the 15th. But the first is coming. The vote was 50-44, falling short of the 60 needed after Democrats blocked the measure. By the way, if the Republicans in the Senate wanted to, they could go the nuclear option and eliminate that 60%. Just by a simple vote. 2 simple votes, it's eliminated. Then they have a simple vote. Will they do that? I don't know. Probably not. Here's the reporters ceremoniously, like there's something important, walking out of the Pentagon after their press passes had been denied because they can't get the inside scoops anymore. Oh my gosh. Such arrogant people. Shirley says, why would they vote against the military getting paid? Well, simple, because they hate you and they want as much pain to the American people as possible. That's what this is all about. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Here's Jesse Waters on the 18 counts.
From his personal AOL email account, and even shared sensitive foreign policy material after leaving the White House. But that's not all. The indictment says Bolton was hacked by a cyber actor believed to be linked to Iran. He's also accused of printing documents with defense information and storing them in his Maryland house, which the FBI found in August. Trump reacted today.
I didn't know that. You tell me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but it's the way it goes. That's the way it goes, right?
Bolton's attorney denies Bolton illegally shared or retained classified material, but if convicted, he faces decades behind bars.
He'll spend the rest of his life behind bars. If the superseding doesn't cause his life to be shortened. I'm just saying. Here's MSNBC.
I don't think this is green creation 2 months back that yielded very little. And now we have a moment here where a retribution campaign is continuing. We know it's James Comey, it's Letitia James, Trump just this week, Mika, as we've been talking about, from the Oval Office with the Attorney General standing and the FBI Director standing alongside him, naming other individuals he would want to see indicted. This one, though, does seem a little different. And for more on that, let's bring in MSNBC Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delaney. And so, Ken, people I've talked to say Look, this is still a broad pattern of retribution. There is still great concern how the president is shattering norms and directing his DOJ, either specifically or just by, naming villains, if you will, naming foes, and others kind of get the hint to who they go after. But the John Bolton case was described to me is a little different than Comey and James. There's a little more of a there. Walk us through what you know about this particular matter.
Good morning, Jonathan. Good morning, guys. You're absolutely right. I think it's a lot different, actually. This is what my sources are telling me than those other cases, which appear to be largely without merit. This one, though, arose in the Biden administration, and this is a very serious and detailed indictment. It says that John Bolton derived secrets from his time as national security advisor, assembled them because he was writing a book, sent them over unclassified email and messaging apps to his wife and daughter. We've identified the two people as his wife and daughter. And then that information was hacked by the government of Iran. At least one of those email accounts was hacked. And so the government of Iran obtained some of these. And the indictment says that Bolton used language that made clear he knew he was talking about sensitive information. Things like the intel briefer said, or when in the situation room, I learned. And these charges, as you said, carry 10 years each. So he could spend the rest of his life in prison, in theory, if convicted on these charges. But let me tell you what the defense could be here. I should add that, and this case is being prosecuted by career prosecutors, respected people, unlike the Comey and the James case, which was avoided by every career prosecutor in the department and pursued only by Donald Trump's political appointee. This one has gone through normal channels, as we understand it. But let me explain some potential mitigating circumstances here. Lots of people who have jobs where they see classified information write books. And they send the manuscript through a publication review, for example, if you're a CIA officer. And oftentimes those reviewers will say, sorry, you can't say that. It was classified. We're keeping that out of the book. Well, that information was classified. It went over an unclassified email system. Those people don't get prosecuted for doing that. What's at issue here are not documents marked classified, which was the case in the Donald Trump indictment. This was information that John Bolton gathered and wrote down in diaries and sent that the FBI and the CIA and other people have determined contain national defense information. And when you look at the descriptions in the indictment, it's pretty clear that some of it probably did. But the question here is, where is the line for people who are writing books? John Bolton did go through the publication review process here. Now there's allegations that he ignored some of the suggestions from people about what to leave out of the book. But there's a lawyer named Mark Zaid who represents a lot of people who write books. And what he was saying last night is that if you're going to prosecute John Bolton, you got to prosecute a lot of other people who wrote books and had potentially classified information on their email systems, which was then left out of the books, but which was actually sensitive. And the other thing is, Abby Lowell, John Bolton's lawyer, is saying here that this was not classified. This was information that he kept for diaries, and he said that the FBI has known about this for a long time, and that's true. This arose in the Biden administration, but what seems to be the case is that they did not know the extent of what was in at least one of his email accounts until they discovered that the material that Iran had hacked through a U.S. intelligence penetration of Iran. That's according to my reporting, and that's one of the reasons this case didn't go forward in the Biden administration.
I wanted to play that again, but evidently it's not going to play again. Huh. So, did you catch that? The reason that they didn't prosecute him is because he was just, transprinting it. It's not like Donald Trump, who had materials that were marked top secret. Let's back up. The materials that were in Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence were materials that he left in the White House that the archivists packed up and sent to Donald Trump 2 months prior to them indicting him or raiding his home. Just think about that for a minute. Just Wrap your mind around that for a minute. That's the material they were after. And the president of the United States of America can retain classified information, even former presidents, according to the U.S. Supreme Court, period, in the statement. Or else Barack Hussein Obama, Bill Clinton, George W. would all be in trouble. Joe Biden would not be in trouble because Joe Biden's a vegetable. And just like Special Prosecutor Wu said, no reasonable person would even try to bring any charges against a guy who can't even tell you what kind of pudding he's eating today. So Joe's out of the question, but the other ones would be. So this equivocation that they're trying to put, Bolton was never president. He does not have that protection. And just because everybody else is doing it doesn't get you off the hook. You're still criminal. You're still being prosecuted. But see, him just, willy-nilly transferring the information so they can save it and write a book is not the problem here. The problem is just what he said, that they found the classified information in Iran that Bolton put on his email server. That's the problem. And also, this is the problem right here. This is what I'm meaning. Listen. It's all fun and games with your secret email network and your cool fake name email addresses until President Donald Trump declassifies it all. You see, they're all connected. They're all connected. They're all connected. All of them. And the email is now the sub basement where you trade the crop estimates for orange futures for bundles of cash, manila envelopes full of cash. Your email, your unclassified, unsecure, private email server is the new under basement garage. This is where all the dark interchanges happen. And you have to ask yourself, how many other people were involved? Here is John Bolton a couple of years ago.
Neither I nor anybody else not involved in the case knows what's in the documents yet. But I do know what kinds of documents were put in front of the president during my time, I'm sure during the entire 4 years of his term. And they did go to absolute, the most important secrets that the United States has, directly affecting national security, directly affecting the lives and safety of our service members and our civilian population. If he has anything like what the indictment alleges, and of course the government will have to prove it, then he has committed very serious crimes. This is a devastating indictment. I speak here as an alumnus of the Justice Department myself, because not only is it powerful, it's very narrowly tailored. They didn't throw everything up against the wall to see what would stick. This really is a rifle shot, and I think it should be the end of Donald Trump's political career.
Golly gee, I hope it's the end of Donald Trump's political career, because if Kamala Harris doesn't get elected, I'm going to jail. And if I go to jail, what was it? What was it Q said? When does a canary sing? Was it when does a bird sing? How's it go? How's that go? Because I don't remember. Because let me show you something. Brian Cates. Thinking along the same lines as me. And I've been saying this now for 2 or 3 weeks. You know how an email chain works, right? On a network? This is where it starts getting really fun. You think this stops with Bolton? Why would you think that? They all know what's coming. You can see it on Obama's face in that interview from the UK the other day. It's only starting with Bolton. It's only starting with Bolton. That's just the beginning. He's just the stoolie. Yes, because look at this. It says, Bolton leaked through his wife. No wonder she looked like she'd seen a ghost when the FBI raided her home. He was emailing his wife back and forth, and his daughter. Faced with his wife and daughter going to jail, Bolton is going to cooperate with the government pretty quickly. Let me be the first to say that Bolton didn't kill himself. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hypocrisy is saying others weaponize the DOJ while planning to go after them. Yeah. Yep. Bolton knew how much criminal he was. Bolton knew how much criminal he was. He knew it as he was saying those things about Trump. Now, here is Just Human. He breaks down a lot of these indictments pretty easily. I like his explanations. While working at the NSA, Bolton transmitted diary-like entries to family members that included national defense and classified information. He did so via commercial message apps and his AOL and Gmail accounts. This is, you can go read this if you'd like, but I'm just going to give you the breakdown. Between September 2019 and July 2021, who was president in 2021? Iran hacked Bolton's personal email account and assessed the classified national defense information he had put in it and accessed, excuse me. Bolton alerted the U.S. government to the hack, but did not inform them of the classified national defense information that was on it. Now, let's stop right there and let me speculate for a second. Somebody in the comment section said, and it's a good point, that no reason to hack when you just give them your information, your login information. No, you don't want to do that. No. It takes a 16-year-old kid 22 seconds to hack your email account. You tell the person that's putting money into your Cayman Islands account where the information is. They hack the account, they get the information. And then you turn around and you tell the government, oh my gosh, somebody they hacked my account. Oh, I opened up the letter from that prince in Nigeria that said he was going to share his inheritance with me. And oh my goodness, they attacked. I'm shocked, I tell you. I didn't even know. I mean, you mean wipe it off with a cloth? What? That's how you do it. Plausible deniability. I didn't know. Golly gee willikers. Everybody does it. On a regular, another way that you could do it too is you could put classified top secret information on a laptop, and then you can go to Russia, Moscow, and you can hire a $10,000 Russian hooker and spend the weekend with her. And when she leaves, she can take the laptop. I'm just saying. On a regular basis, Bolton sent diary entries via unsecured applications to two family members, which described his day-to-day activities as national security advisor. These diary entries contain top secret SCI level national defense information. Just complete disregard for proper handling of classified information. Now, there's the details. What did John Bolton do with his yellow notepads that he always took copious notes in a cabinet room, Oval Office, Situation Room, traveling abroad, etc., etc.? Dan Scavino said in 24. On or about July 15, 2018, individual 2 sent Bolton and individual one a message that stated, "Do we get a diary today?" Individual one responded, "Don't think he can do it on his trip." Bolton later added, "Too much going on. I've done much on Friday in London because I didn't take many notes and wanted to get it down before I forget." He was writing his memoir day to day while he was serving as the NSA. He sends chunk of it, the diary entries, to his family members for them to edit and correct. As soon as he was fired, he was ready to talk to book publishers. What a scumbag. Bolton violated the settlement agreement. As a condition of the settlement agreement, Bolton agreed to provide to the United States all materials in his possession, custody, or control that may contain classified information. Bolton also agreed that his obligation to return classified material extends to any written, so his notepads, or electronic drafts of manuscripts of his books, regardless of whether those materials were received from the United States or generated by Bolton. It says, "Oh, the hypocrisy." Forfeiture. Is DOJ going to relieve Bolton of all the money that memoir made him? I hope so. Notice of forfeiture. The grand jury for the District of Meryton further finds, upon conviction of offense in violation of Title 18 U.S. Code, section blah, 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 set forth in the courts, blah, 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 John Robert Bolton II shall forfeit to the United States of America, pursuant to Title 18 United States Code, sections and such, any property, real or personal, which constitutes or is derived from the proceeds traceable to the offense. Iran, who for years were trying to kill Bolton and other members of the first Trump administration. At some point, when Bolton left government service in September 2019 and July 2021, a cyber actor believed to be associated with the Islamic Republic of Iran hacked Bolton's personal email account and gained unauthorized access to classified and national defense information in that account, which Bolton had previously emailed to individuals 1 and 2 while he was National Security Advisor. The United States generated data from an adversarial country spy service, so we found the classified materials were in the possession of Iran. I wonder if that was developed from the was the Usfar merchant case, and I don't know what that is, but merchant came to the U.S. to recruit hitmen to assassinate U.S. officials. Oh, I don't remember that one. Since at least April 2020, merchant orchestrated a plot to assassinate U.S. government officials on U.S. soil, and it's highly likely that Bolton was on the list. So did the FBI learn of Iran's possession of classified material on Bolton's emails from the devices they seized from merchant? I don't know. Could be. Crazy to think about Iran wanting to kill him, plotting it, sending people to the U.S. to kill him, and also having access to his email and extracting so much info from that. Not just classified stuff, but pattern of life details they could get. So there's a lot happening here, a lot yet to be discovered, I think, by us. What a West. How's it go? How's it go? I can't remember when we practice to deceive. I can't remember how it goes. That's okay though. Doesn't matter. Let's see what else. Oh, let me do this one here. Let me talk about this here. Did y'all see this? Donald Trump held a White House press meeting to talk about his new health initiatives with RFK.
It's really just the beginning. It's just a start. It's one of many things we're doing. Today, we're also taking historic steps to vastly expand access to insurance coverage for fertility care, including IVF, something that, as you know, was not covered. Effective immediately, for the first time ever, we will make it legal for companies to offer supplemental insurance plans specifically for fertility. It's never been done before. We're signing it in today with what we signed. Americans will be able to opt in to specialized coverage just as they get vision and dental insurance. They're going to get fertility insurance for the first time. So I don't know, I don't know how well these things are covered.
What a tangled web weave. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't get it. I'm live. That's why I say that all the time. What a tangled web we weave when we practice to deceive. I was like, totally slipped in my mind. Thank you for that. I do. See, I got a great audience. They know where I'm talking. They know what I'm talking about, even when I can't say it. So here is RFK Jr. talking about this new. They're basically allowing fertility drugs and fertility procedures. They're allowing you to buy a supplemental policy through your workplace policy, like you do with dental or accidental insurance or Aflac, like that kind of stuff. They're allowing you to have the option that if you're wanting to make babies, the government is going to support you making babies.
If you were.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your vision, your commitment to our country. When my uncle was president, the fertility rate in this country was 3.5%. Today, it is 1.6%. The replacement rate, in other words, the amount of fertility that you need in order to keep your population even, is 2.1%. We are below replacement right now. That is a national security threat to our country. And we know why this is happening. And President Trump is addressing the root causes through his MAHA agenda of reducing endocrine disruptors, the exposure to chemicals that decrease fertility. Today, the average teenager in this country has 50% of the sperm count, 50% of the testosterone as a 65-year-old man. Our girls are hitting puberty 6 years earlier. And that's bad, but also our parents aren't having children. Parents who want to have children do not have access. I have 7 children. I feel that God has blessed me with that. And I can't imagine how different my life would be if I did not have that blessing. I want to point out also that this morning, Harvard University released a study that showed that the obesity rates have now climbed over 70%. And this, again, is for the same reason we're flooding our kids. We're poisoning mass poisoning a generation of kids with chemicals. President Trump has instructed us to stop these problems at the root cause. He's also recognized that there are people who are injured, people who are not living their life to the fullest, and he's addressing that. Last week, we made GLP drugs available at Most Favored Nation. And this week, it's IVF. I want to thank you so much for that, Mr. President.
And I understand some of your guys' argument against that. And I see what you're saying, but also I get where they're coming from too. Because we are in decline. We need to make more babies. We need to promote making more babies. It's what Charlie Kirk said. If you want to be a great American and a great Christian, you need to get married and make babies. Now, most of the people that watch my show, I'm older and beyond those years, and most people that watch my show are too. So, and I understand what you're saying about the embryos, and I don't disagree, but at the same time, grace, I guess. I personally would not do it. And I think that's where the heart of RFK and Donald Trump are coming from in this too, is to promote making babies and allowing, I mean, there's other treatments that you can do before you get to the embryo stage, and they're trying to create, you see, insurance doesn't cover it. They're trying to create a supplement that you can purchase. They're trying to create a class of insurance that you can purchase along with your, like you do dental and everything else, and support alternatives. So I hear you, and I feel what you're saying, and I agree with you. And like I said, I personally wouldn't do it, and that's a tough one. You know, it's just like you saying, I don't believe there should be an abortion at all. I think that every life is sacred. But then someone comes to me, what about the 12-year-old girl that was raped by her dad or raped by her uncle or something? And she's got, in my personal opinion, if it was my 12-year-old girl, we would have a baby, and then I would take care of it. But grace, same grace that Christ gave me for my evilness in my day, I don't. Yeah, struggling. I mean, how do you deal with? Thank God I don't have to deal with something like that. Thank God. How do you deal with that? Grace. That's how you deal with it. Love. Just love people. Do your best to be a good person to people. You dirty, you killed babies. Ah, that's not the right answer. That's not how you bring them to Jesus. Because what would Jesus do? Here is RFK. Speaking of that, here's RFK talking to Donald Trump. Just saying something real nice to Donald Trump.
Oh, I want to thank you so much for that, Mr. President. I saw on an airplane the other day, you said that you didn't believe that you were going to get to heaven. You're doing God's work here. You've made peace in the Middle East, which is beyond anybody's imagination. And now you're giving millions of Americans a chance to have babies. And you're doing this while the government is locked down by the Democrats. But this administration has not stopped working for the American people. And that's because of your energy, your commitment, your vision. And I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of it.
Just saying. And by the way, when Donald Trump says, I don't think I'm going to heaven, that was Donald Trump's style of putting himself down. Most people can't take the joke. They don't get the jokes when Donald Trump does it. They can't take the jokes when Donald Trump does it because most people are just ignorant like that. Why do you say it that way? Because that's how Chris Rock says it. So, and that's the truth. I got one more video that I want to play. Speaking of God's grace, speaking of God's deliverance, speaking of God setting people free from all the evil and bondage and crap that's in this world. I'm going to end with this story. You guys have a great weekend. It's, man, God is good all the time. And I'm sure more things are going to break. I have no idea. We'll talk about it Monday, but turn the news off. Go enjoy the weekend. Go watch the World Series or watch football or get outside and do some gardening or play in the dirt or go fishing. Whatever it is you do, play golf. Whatever it is you do, go do that. And don't worry about all this crap. I'll tell you, I'll keep track of it, and I'll tell you about it Monday. I do practice what I say, though. I very much limit how much research and digging, and you can see it that I do a little here and there on my Telegram page, but not much. Here is the grace of God in a vision that somebody had.
I noticed the preacher start inviting people up to the front to receive Jesus for the first time. And I looked down and for the very first time in my life saw Jesus. He was there pacing at the front in the margin between the stage and the chairs, just pacing back and forth. And I could tell by the way that he was pacing that he was staring at something at the back of the room. It was like a hunter almost, like his gaze was absolutely fixed at this one point. Every time he turned, his eyes stayed locked in this one spot. And I saw this girl, and immediately when I saw her, I heard the Holy Spirit say, he sees no one but her. And as he stood there, she lifted her head up off the divider for just a second. But as soon as she did, I saw all these chains appear all around her. They were covering her from the top of her neck to the bottom of her ankles. They went off in 4 long strands, and these demons pulled and were at the end of each of the chains, and they pulled and twisted it in such a way that it caused her to slump back down. But that didn't really matter, because Jesus just leaned forward and he kissed her on the forehead. And the second he kissed her on the forehead, every single link in the chain exploded like firecrackers. All the way down. Demons flew back from the loss of tension, and as the last link near her ankles broke, there was this bright flash of white light. It was so bright it completely blinded me. I looked down and I couldn't even see myself. All I could see was Jesus and this girl, but now she was wearing these robes that were like whiter than white, the whitest thing I've ever seen before or since. And Jesus was standing there with his arms open wide, and she leaned in and she hugged him around the waist. I stumbled backwards and fell into my chair and got my wits about me just enough to sit up to see that the girl was actually running up to the front to receive Jesus, even though she already had.